Hello students, Wendy Ansley here, kinesiology professor at College of the Desert. I look forward to sharing with you this well-rounded sequence today. And we will start off with 2 cleansing breaths. We're going to inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Inhale, exhale. Let's do it again. Inhale, exhale. As we fold our hands in Anjali Mudra, the theme for this sequence today is to make each practice, our yoga practice, make each practice our masterpiece. That's actually a quote from a basketball coach. He used to say, make each day your masterpiece. And we are making each practice today, our yoga practice, we're making it our masterpiece, okay? So with our breath, our efforts, our positive thoughts, we're taking it together, whatever we've had today on the 4 corners of the mat, and we're going to give it our all. We're going to believe in what we are doing. We're in this together. We're working within ourselves, and we're working physically as well. Let's take a moment, close your eyes, and lower your head to your fingertips. Take a moment and just set your own personal intention for your practice. Honor this intention with your breath and your efforts. And look up. Beautiful. As we go on to this well-rounded and kind of playful and fun sequence, we're going to start at the edges of our mat in Tadasana, awakening the arches, Pada Bandha, the 4 corners of the feet. We're standing nice and tall, active legs, drawing the shoulders down the back. We'll do 2 little quarter sun salutations. Rooting through the ground, inhale, we're going to draw those arms up, energy out the fingertips. Exhale, we're going to swan dive down into a little dynamic forward fold. We're going to heel and toe, heel and toe. Inhale, halfway lift, either hands to the shins or the thighs. We're gazing forward and down. Exhale, come back into forward fold. Gently bend the knees. Inhale, swan dive up, open the chest. Open the heart. Exhale, heart-centered. Inhale, root through the 4 corners of the feet. Draw those arms up. Make each practice your masterpiece. Exhale, come into a little forward fold, a little dynamic forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the shins or the thighs or the ground. Gaze forward and down. Exhale, come into a little forward fold here. Breathe into those hamstrings. Gently bend the knees. Inhale, swan dive up. Open the chest. Open the heart. Exhale, heart-centered. Coming into 2 classical Surya Namaskaras. Again, awaken those arches, spread those toes, Pada Bandha. Inhale, we're going to draw those arms up. Clasp around the left wrist. I like to take my thumb and index finger together and shift now over to the right, a little lateral flexion. This is where we draw the left top ribs back just a bit and kind of open the chest, revolve the torso a little bit as we come into this little lateral flexion. Inhale, rise. Clasping a hold of the right wrist, thumb and index come together, and we're shifting over to the left, but again, we draw the right top ribs back a little bit. Revolve the torso just a bit. Inhale, rise. Exhale, come into a little forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, either to the shins, the thighs, or to the ground. Framing the feet, we're going to step that right leg back in low lunge, hands to the hips. We're going to do a few dynamics. Keeping the left hand on the hip, we're going to draw that right arm up and kind of rotate the right pinky in, either the hand to a block or to the ground. We're just kind of releasing the psoas here, which attaches in the back and in the front of the pelvis. We're releasing, breathing into the right hip. Right hand now comes onto the hip. We're going to draw that left arm up. Give it a little bit of a balance here. And either hand to the block or to the ground and rotate that left pinky inward. Hands to the hips. Frame the foot. Runner's pose. Sweep that left leg high. Ekapada here. One leg, sweep it high. Lower that left leg, come back into Phalakasana, plank. Round the upper back, dome the upper back, belly button to the spine, core awakening, core engagement, awakening the shoulders, utilizing the legs too. Phalakasana as a full body exercise. On the exhale, we're lowering knee, chest, and chin, Ashtanga Pranam, knee, chest, and chin at the ground. At the same time, I place my hands right by my chest. I'm awakening the back side of my body. Inhale and exhale through the nose. Transitioning, shifting those legs back, feet are hip width apart. Hands by the chest, easy cobra. Notice my shoulders are aligned with my elbows. I'm drawing the elbows towards one another, but drawing the shoulders away from the ears. Pressing through the tops of the feet, awakening the lower back. On the exhale, I lead with those hips. I come into down dog, and I stay here several breaths. Tailbone back and down, cubus bone back and up. Drawing the right knee to the chest, to the nose. Place the right foot next to the right hand. Hand to the hips. One or two dynamics. Keeping the right hand on the hip, we're going to draw that left arm up or right hand to the ground. Rotate that pinky in. Release that left hip. Left hand on the hip. Right arm comes up and either to the block or to the ground. Rotate that right pinky in. Breathe into the left hip. Firm the right hip a bit. Gently release. Hands to the hips. Runner's pose, so I'm actively awakening the back leg. I'm firming that right hip. Step that back leg forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Again, to the ground, the shins, the thighs. Exhale, forward fold. Come more to that midfoot. Breathe into those hamstrings and draw the chest close to the shins. Gently bend the knees. Inhale, swan dive up again. Open the chest. Open the heart. Make each practice your masterpiece. Exhale, heart centered. Inhale, draw those arms up. Clasp around the right wrist. Thumb and index finger come together. Shifting over to the left. Drawing the right shoulder blade back. And revolving the chest, almost the torso towards the ceiling just a bit. Inhale, rise. Clasping around the left, thumb and index finger. Shift over to the right. Left top shoulder blade comes back. Draw the heart towards the ceiling. Inhale, rise. Exhale, come into a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Framing the feet, step that left leg back, lower the left knee to the ground. 1 or 2 dynamics. Right hand on the hip, draw that left arm up. Right hand to the ground. Left hand on the hip, draw that right arm up. Yes, or left hand to the ground. Beautiful, find that balance. Gently release, hands to the hips, frame the foot. Connect, runner's pose. Sweep that right leg high to hip level, kind of rotate that right hip inward. Gently lower the right leg, come into Phalakasana. Belly button to the spine. Beautiful. Awaken, lower knees, chest and chin. Knees, chest and chin. I like to have my hands by the chest. Almost draw the elbows towards one another. Shoulder blades down the back ribs. Pull the shoulders away from the ears. And breathe into that release. The tailbone is out and back. Gently transition, easy cobra. Feet hip width apart. Press to the tops of the feet, still shoulders away from the ears. Gaze down, look down. Transition. All fours, lead with those hips. Come into down dog, adjust yourself here. Press through those palms evenly, tailbone back and down, pubis bone back and up. Draw the left knee to the chest, to the nose. Place the left foot next to the left hand. Come into low lunge, left hand on the hip. Draw that right arm up. Right hand on the hip, to the ground. Rotate that left pinky inward. Beautiful. Frame the foot, runner's pose. We always just do whatever we can do. Step that back foot forward. Inhale, halfway lift, tailbone out and back. Back is flat, gaze forward and down. Exhale, come into forward fold. This is where we awaken the wrists here. Turn the tops of the hands, press them into the ground. Maybe rock side to side here. Turn the fingers towards one another and rock side to side. Fingers come away from one another and rock side to side. Gently bend the knees, swan dive up. Open the chest, open the heart. Exhale, heart centered. Beautiful. We're going to keep some blocks kind of near us as we transition. We're going to awaken our core, and I'm just going to keep some blocks near me. I'm going to come into them a little bit. We're going to inhale, swan dive up, open the chest, open the heart. Exhale, we're going to add a little bit of a back bend in Urdhva Hastasana here. Upper spine through the heart, a little bit of a back bend. Exhale, we're going to swan dive down back into forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Framing the feet, we are stepping back into Phalakasana. I like to do a little bit of core right from the beginning. So here we are, Phalakasana. We're on the balls of the feet, but we're almost pressing the heels back and feeling the sternum come forward. We're rounding the upper back, doming the upper back a little bit, belly button to the spine. Drawing that right hand in just a few inches, the shoulders over the heel of the hand, we're coming into Vasisthasana. We're pressing outer edge here of the right foot. Beginner can keep that left foot down like a kickstand, but if you can, you're going to stack the feet, press outer edge of the right foot, flex the feet. Hand to the hip for beginners. More advanced, left hand to the ceiling. You either can gaze straight across or gaze up. Lift that bottom hip. Lift it. Shoulders stacked over one another. Core strength, hip strength. Transition, Phalakasana. Lower that left hand. Gaze forward and down. Draw that left hand in a few inches. Turn that left foot. Press outer edge of the left foot. Right hand to the hip. Beginners can keep that right foot down. Stacking both feet over one another, shoulder over the heel of the hand. You can gaze forward or gaze up. Lift that bottom hip. Lift it, lift it. Core strength, hip strength. Inhale, exhale through the nose. Gently lower the right hand. Beautiful body intelligence. Come back to Phalakasana. This is where I almost take the pads of my fingers and I press them into the ground. I'm strengthening my fingers here. Strengthening my hands. Gently lower to the knees. Walking the knees forward. This is where I'm going to take my blocks and I'm going to do Lolasana drills. Lolasana is a big time core awakening, shoulder awakening core exercise. So I take my blocks outside my thighs. I'm going to press into the blocks and I'm drawing my knees towards my chest, all through plantar flexion through the tops of my feet. So let's do the first one slow. Press into the blocks. Exhale, draw the knees towards the chest. Good. And we're going to keep repeating here. And lower. Exhale, knees to chest. Inhale, lower. Good. Connect that core. Draw the knees to the chest. Let's do 5 more. Engage the shoulders. Last one. On the transition, let's lower the heels. Swan dive up. Open the chest. Open the heart. Exhale, heart centered. Cleansing breath together. Inhale through the nose. Inhale. Exhale. Beautiful. Taking the blocks, pushing them to the sides, to the center of the mat here. In Tadasana, drawing the shoulders down the back. Add a little hop here. 5-point star, rotate those big toes in slightly. I want you to press outer edges of the feet. Awaken those arches. And now we're going to connect the entire body here. Clasping the arms behind, drawing the shoulder blades towards one another. Open the chest, open the heart. Exhale, come forward. Trying to get the hands close to the ground. Come more to that midfoot. Breathe into the hamstrings. Release the inner groin. Stay here several more breaths. Inhale, back is flat, belly button to the spine. And rise. Cleansing breath. Inhale. Exhale. Adjusting this left foot, I'm mirroring you. So it's your left foot. Point it 90 degrees. Turn that back foot in 15 degrees, preparing for a triangle. Beautiful hip opener, beautiful standing posture. Extended triangle. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, reach towards that wall. Hand to the shin. Keep the shoulders stacked over one another. Without slumping forward, you may come down a little bit lower, hand to a block or outside of the left foot. Coming into a bind, I want you to take that right hand and place it on this left thigh. And from here, I want you to rotate the right top ribs back. Rotate the torso. Heart towards the ceiling. Breathe into the back hip. Inhale, root and rise, reverse triangle here. Draw that left hip up. Beautiful. Fingers towards the ceiling. Exhale, release. Cleansing breath. Inhale. Exhale. Adjust that right foot. Rotate that back foot in 15 degrees. And you almost feel that front hip coming forward, back hip up. Utthita Trikonasana. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, reach towards the wall. Hand to the shin. Keep the body in one plane. A few of you may come a little bit lower, but keep the body in one plane, no slumping forward. Take the left hand outside, right in terms of that right thigh. And now rotate that torso, top, ribs back, heart towards the ceiling, half bind. Inhale, reverse triangle. Right hip towards the ceiling. Open that side body. Exhale, release. Heel toed in just a bit. A little bit wider than hip width apart for Malasana pose. If you want to take a block behind you, if you use a block, now for prayer squat, I'll set one up behind me just in case someone likes it, right? Awaken those arches, spread those toes. Beautiful Malasana. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, lower. Elbows come inside the knees. Maybe you use the block, maybe you don't. So I take my legs, I squeeze them into my elbows, I lengthen my spine. I draw length in my spine. We're going to stay here quite a while, gaze forward. Beautiful. Stay here several more breaths. Inhale and rise. Cleansing breath. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Rooting through the four corners of the right foot. I'm mirroring you here. Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana. We're going to take it into an abduction. We're going to take the leg out to the side. It's important to keep this standing leg straight and strong before we think about hunching over and coming into this pose. So even just doing a partial expression of this pose would be great. Rooting through the four corners of the right foot, draw that right femur head in. Take that left leg out to the side. And many of us are simply going to stay here. We're having a hard time keeping that standing leg straight. Eventually, once I can straighten that leg, I take my thumb and my 2 index fingers around the left big toe. And then eventually I work on taking this out into beautiful Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana. Foot to hand pose. Try to get that femur head in of the standing leg. Good. Using the quadricep muscles to strengthen around the pelvic hip girdle. Gaze forward. Strength and flexibility. Come out of the tree the same way we got into the tree. Coming back to Tadasana. Cleansing breath. Inhale. Exhale. Rooting through the 4 corners of the left leg. So again, I engage my quadricep muscles. Draw that left femur head in. Abduct that right leg to the side. Once I can straighten the muscles of the standing leg, straighten that leg. Do I think of taking the thumb and the index fingers around the big toe? And then I come into a fuller expression of the pose. Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana. Engage all the muscles of the standing leg. Gently come out of the pose. To Tadasana. Cleansing breath. Inhale. Exhale. Beautiful. Adjusting the blocks a little bit. I'm going to keep them over here. Kind of going through a little bit of that core awakening again. It's a beautiful core expression here. Starting in Tadasana, inhale, arms up. Exhale, open the chest, open the heart, lead with the upper back. A little bit of a back bend. Beautiful Urdhva Hastasana. Open the chest, open the heart. Exhale, come back. Swan dive down into forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Most of us hands to the shins or to the thighs, possibly to the ground. Framing the feet, step back into Phalakasana here. Engage the core, round the upper back. It's okay, I kind of take my fingers, they're like claws. I strengthen my hands. I'm drawing the left hand in a few inches, pressing the left outer edge of the foot. You can either kickstand like we did for beginners with the right foot down for beginners, or we're going to come into beautiful side plank. Fingertips towards the ceiling. Lift that bottom hip. Vasisthasana, side plank. Transitioning, lower the right hand down into plank. Draw that right hand inward. Press outer edge of the right foot. Stack the feet. Lift that bottom hip. Come into side plank. Vasisthasana. Come into forward plank. Belly button to the spine. Gently lower to the knees. Blocks on either side. Little low Lasana drills to strengthen the core, strengthen the shoulders. Pressing through the blocks, plantar flexion in both feet. We press through the blocks and we draw the knees towards the chest. Exhale, knees to the chest. Inhale, come back. Beautiful. Exhale, knees to the chest. Inhale, lower. Beautiful. 5 more. Two more. One more. And now adjust those heels. Gently swan dive up. Open the chest. Open the heart. Exhale, heart centered. Beautiful. Adjusting the blocks. If some of us want to use a block for the next one, we can. I'm going to have it just as optional here. Cleansing breath. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Parvottanasana, pyramid pose. We're going to step that left leg back a few inches shorter than a full leg length. Heel and heel intersect, maybe a little bit wider if we're struggling with flexibility. I want to see those hips facing forward. We did a lot of planks. Let's come into another expression here. Either we can clasp those elbows, draw the shoulders down the back, or we can take and come into reverse prayer. And now we're almost kind of doing the opposite of the planks here. We're drawing the shoulders down the back, a less of a rounded kyphotic curve. This is beautiful for our back. Our whole body is involved in this pose. Inhale, we create length. Inhale. Exhale, we begin to come forward. Sternum and chest is long. Come more to that right midfoot. Some of us may take the hands to the blocks, still coming to that midfoot and almost level, squaring the pelvis a bit. You almost squeeze the outer hips almost towards one another so the inner thighs almost touch a little bit. Eventually, we can come a little bit lower, sternum and chest close to the shin. Stay here several breaths. Hand to the hips, belly button to the spine. Inhale, root and rise. Cleansing breath. Inhale. Exhale. Adjusting that right leg back now, a few inches less than a full leg length. Squaring the hips. Left hip back, right hip forward. Either clasp the elbows and draw the shoulders down the back, or take the hands into a reverse prayer here. Fingers touching one another. We draw the shoulders back and down, connecting to our entire body here. Inhale, we create length. Exhale, we bend forward. Spine is long. We come more to that midfoot. Come more to the midfoot. Eventually, maybe the hands to the blocks to level the pelvis or to the ground, still more on the left of the midfoot, but you want to press outer edge of that stable back foot. Inner thighs almost touching one another, and you can bring possibly sternum and chest for those hyper flexible towards the left shin. Hands on the hips, belly button to the spine. Inhale, rise. Cleansing breath. Inhale. Exhale. exploring Bakasana. Some of you might want to use a block and place it in front of you to place your head onto the block if that's going to help you. Crow pose. This is a little bit of an advanced pose. So know that that's the prop that's there. I'm going to do it without a block, but just know that it's there. And we always listen to our body. We just simply do the best that we can. This is a beautiful upper body strengthener, but we're using the core to help us lift and fly in crow. Inhale, draw those arms up. Exhale, come into forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. We're going to place the hands down here. We're relevating up on the balls of the feet. And now I'm widening the knees. You see that? And making almost room for my torso. I'm trying to place the knees up high under my armpits there. And I'm coming into Bakasana. Eventually, listening to my body, drawing the heels towards my buttocks, flying a little bit, core awakening, heels towards the buttocks, rooting into the ground, core awakening, upper body strengthener. Stay here several breaths. Gently release. Heels towards the ground. Inhale, swan dive up. Open the chest, open the heart. Exhale, heart centered. We're going to take the mat to the wall and come into a very fun expression here of a posture. Urdhva Prasarita Eka Padasana. Splits on the wall. So let's start a few feet off the wall. For Urdhva Prasarita Eka Padasana, splits on the wall. So we're starting a few feet off the wall. Inhale, we're going to draw those arms up. Enjoying this masterpiece of a practice. This is going to be fun, guys. We're going to enjoy this. We're going to challenge ourselves. Exhale, we're swan diving down. Hands to the ground. I'm going to keep my left foot onto the ground, and I'm going to slightly bend the left leg, and I'm going to draw that right leg up. And for many of us, it's maybe just about here today. And we're going to really give ourselves a stretch, doing the best that we can do. I'm a little more flexible, so I'm going to walk my hands and my legs back closer to this beautiful splits on the wall. Eventually, I'm rotating my right hip inward. I'm going to draw my right hand inside the heel, then the left. I'm pressing the elbows into the wall. I'm going to stay here a while. Stay here several more breaths. Gently come out. Cleansing breath. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Inhale. Exhale. Gently swan dive up. Exhale, come into a forward fold. I'm a few feet off the wall here. And I'm going to shift now that left leg up. For many of us, it's going to simply be here today. That's where we are. Eventually, we're going to walk the leg back and the hands back, challenging ourselves, rotating the top hip inward just a little bit. Eventually, I like to take my left hand inward, then my right hand, rest my elbows onto the wall, come into this beautiful expression. We'll stay here a while. Gently release. Come to that forward fold here. Just stay here several breaths. Gently bend the knees. Swan dive up. Open the chest. Open the heart. Exhale, heart centered. Another reason I like this sequence is we're challenging ourselves. It's well-rounded. We're having fun. We're challenging ourselves. And a sequence can be like a masterpiece sometimes when I create this for you guys. It's done with the best intentions in mind. With that, we are really warm, but we want to strengthen the back next. So we're going to come into Setu Bandha Sarvangasana, which has many beautiful properties of it. We're in a supine position. Our feet are hip width apart. I want you to rotate those big toes in. On the inhale, we're pressing through the feet and we're coming up high on the shoulder blades. And this is where I nestle, right? I can keep my hands by the hips for the beginners, or I can interlace my fingers. And then I come up even a little bit higher, drawing the shoulders towards one another, sacrum towards the knees, sternum to the chin. And this has many amazing qualities for the thyroid, for your glands, for your metabolism. And we're going to continue this breath. Inhale, we create length. Exhale, we press into the ground. We'll stay here a while. Root into the ground, sacrum towards the knees. Sternum, chest close to the chin. Gently lower. I like to almost bring my arms over my head here. One vertebrae at a time. And that's a beautiful preparation for some more back bends. So now I'm going to have you go into deeper expression. You're going to take the blocks. Well, some of you guys, you're going to do Setu Bandha. For some of you guys that are struggling with back bends, I want you to do glute bridge Setu Bandha Sarvangasana again 2 more times. Some of you guys are going to take the blocks almost to the outer edges of the mat here, shoulder width apart, and it's going to give us a lift, about 4-inch lift here, as I explore Urdhva Dhanurasana. Now I have upward facing bow in my practice, but even for those of us struggling, right, we've got glute bridge, or we might try just partial here. And on this pose here, actually, let's turn the blocks higher, a little bit higher here, yes. And we're going to take the heel of the hand. So you see all my blocks are posted here, a little bit about shoulder width apart. I like it like here. And we're going to end up taking the heel of the hand, and it's trapping and pushing the block into the wall, okay? So we have my feet are hip width apart. My big toes are rotated inward. I'm pressing, see how I'm doing? I'm trapping the block into the wall, and my elbows are up. Inhale, I create length, and for some of us, head onto the ground. This is where we are right now. And then eventually, some of us, we pop up. We push into the block. We push for that length in the spine. The whole spine is involved. We'll stay here several breaths. Gently release. I gently lower. You have your choice. We're going to do 2 more of these. You might do a child's pose. You might do glute bridge 1 more time. But I push into the wall with the heel of my hand. My elbows are up. I rotate my big toes in slightly to create length in my lower back. My knees are in line with those hips. And I get to the wall here. I can press my entire foot to the ground. I can come up to the ball of the foot to take a little less pressure off the lower back. Knees in line with the hips. Opening the chest, opening the heart, opening the entire back. Several breaths. Gently release. Come out of it nice and controlled. You have your choice. You can relax. Child's pose. We can do it 1 more time. Again, rotate the big toes in. We want to internally rotate those thighs, create length in the lower spine. Get the most out of the back bend. Press the blocks into the wall, elbows up. Inhale, create length. Knees in line with the hips. Push into the wall, open the chest, open the heart. Breathe into the posture. Stay here several more breaths. Gently come out of the posture. And I'm going to push off the wall just a bit. And my knees are almost, heels close to the buttocks, almost like glute bridge. And I want to kind of reduce tension here. And I'm going to kind of lower the right and left knee towards the right here. And we're going to come back center. Lower the left knee and the right knee to the left. Come center. I'm just neutralizing the effects here. Lower the right and the left knee to the right. Come back center. And move the left and the right knee to the left. It's releasing some of the effects of this beautiful pose. Come back center. Beautiful. Adjusting ourselves, I'm going to come back to the wall a little bit. So I'm going to come out of this pose and I want to come into a little bit of a spinal twist. So I'm going to adjust my blocks here. I've really given my back a deep, deep stretch. And now I want to kind of release it in with a spinal twist. So we're going to start with the left foot. I kind of go the ball of the foot, I think, onto the wall. And I draw my right knee to my chest, clasp around the right shin. Now I'm shifting onto the left hip, onto the left ball of the foot. Maybe I have to take a block, if that helps me, with the knee. And I'm going to extend now. I'm onto the left hip, and I want to extend that right shoulder to the ground, gaze over the right shoulder. Stay here several breaths. Gently release. Come onto the right foot against the wall. And I'm going to draw the left knee towards the chest. And I'm going to come onto the right hip and lower the left knee towards the ground and draw the left shoulder towards the ground, gaze over the left shoulder. Inhaling, exhaling through the nose, staying here several more breaths. Gently release both knees to the chest. Try to get the lower back towards the ground. Gently release. Rock it out. Coming into Dandasana here. We're going to widen the legs. We're going to rotate that pelvis forward, and we're going to draw the knees back. We're preparing for Upavista Konasana. And this is hard for some people. You kind of want to think about coming forward and drawing that pelvis forward a little bit in a little anterior rotation. That's not easy for some people. We're going to do the best that we can. The knees roll back. For many of us, we're inhaling, create length. Exhaling, we're walking forward. And for some of us, it simply might be here. No judgment, doing the best that we can. I have flexibility. I practice yoga is near and dear towards my heart. I can go a little bit farther. I can clasp around my big toes. It just depends. We've got 3 levels, but they're all doing the same thing in Upavista Konasana. Rotate those knees back, outer edges of the feet come back. You either can rest the forehead onto the ground. I like to draw, I can get my chest to the ground. I like to bring my chin forward to create length in my cervical vertebrae. We're going to stay here a while. Inhale, create length. Inhale and rise. Heel and toes, they come back together here in Dandasana. We draw those legs together. Preparing for beautiful forward fold Paschimottanasana. Same things. We root through the sitting bones. We create length. We draw the pelvis forward. We create length in the spine, and we're going to reach forward and release the hamstrings and the lower back. For some of you that struggle with this, you might want to come into alignment and form and simply come forward a little bit and have the strap help you. For some of you that go into a deeper expression, you might take 1 block, maybe even 2 blocks. I like to do 2 blocks and come forward. We're going to do this twice. The first one shorter, warm up before the second one. Rooting through the sitting bones, create length, inhale, lengthen. We don't just flop over, we exhale, we come forward 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches, 6 inches farther. We keep a little flexion in the feet, We engage the quadriceps. We breathe into the hamstrings. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, release. We'll stay here several breaths. Inhale and rise. Cleansing breath. Inhale. Exhale. Draw those arms up. Exhale, come forward. We're going to stay here a couple minutes. Deep release. Long hold. Inhale and rise. Beautiful release there of the lower back. Preparing for our Shavasana. We're going to let everything go here. Relaxing the feet, relaxing the hands, letting everything go. We'll stay here for a while. Preparing to come out of our Shavasana, little movements in your fingers and toes. Gently bend the knees. Right arm over the head. Use the left hand to press yourself up. I hope you enjoyed this practice. Make each practice your masterpiece. And really, it's each day, right? Your attitude of gratitude, being positive, having hope, being kind to others. Reflecting back on your own unique intention for your practice today. Live your intention. Gently look up. Namaste. Thanks, guys.